You have been lied to about discipline your entire life, and the lie sounds like this. Just push through it. Just force yourself. Just stay motivated and everything will work out. But here is the strange truth that nobody talks about openly in the self-improvement space. The most disciplined people you have ever seen are not using motivation at all. They are not grinding their teeth through every hard task or white-knuckling their way through the day. They have discovered something that neuroscience has only recently confirmed with brain imaging technology. And once you understand what they know, you will never chase motivation again. Let me ask you a simple question that might change how you see everything. Have you ever brushed your teeth and thought, I really do not feel motivated to do this today? Of course not, because brushing your teeth is not a decision anymore. It is automatic. Your brain does not debate it, does not resist it, does not need a motivational speech before it happens. Now imagine if waking up early, exercising, eating well, and doing deep work felt exactly the same way. That is not a fantasy. That is literally how the brains of disciplined people operate. And the difference between you and them is not willpower, talent, or some genetic advantage. The difference is which part of their brain is running the show. Your brain has two systems that are constantly fighting for control over your behavior. The first system is your prefrontal cortex, the logical planning part sitting right behind your forehead. This is the part that makes goals, sets intentions, and says, today I will finally start. The second system is your basal ganglia, a deep ancient structure buried in the center of your brain. This is the part that runs habits, routines, and automatic behaviors without any conscious effort. Here's where it gets fascinating, and where most people get the entire model of discipline completely wrong. When you rely on motivation, you are forcing your prefrontal cortex to do all the heavy lifting. But the prefrontal cortex is like a battery that drains every single time you use it. Every decision you make, every temptation you resist, every time you force yourself to act, it drains. By the afternoon, that battery is nearly empty, and that is when motivation vanishes completely. That is why you can feel incredibly motivated at 7 in the morning, but completely drained by 3. That is why Monday you are unstoppable, but by Wednesday you are back on the couch scrolling your phone. You are not weak and you are not lazy. Your battery simply ran out because you used the wrong system. Disciplined people do not run on the prefrontal cortex battery all day long like everyone else does. They have shifted their most important behaviors into the basal ganglia, the autopilot system. Once a behavior lives in the basal ganglia, it costs almost zero mental energy to execute. It just happens the same way brushing your teeth just happens without any internal negotiation. So the real question is not how do I stay motivated? It is how do I move behaviors into autopilot? And neuroscience gives us a surprisingly clear answer that most people have never heard explained properly. It comes down to 3 specific mechanisms that transfer control from effort to automation. The first mechanism is called context-dependent repetition, and it is more powerful than willpower will ever be. Your brain does not form habits from actions alone. It forms habits from actions tied to specific contexts. A context means a specific time, a specific location, and a specific preceding action happening together. When you do the same behavior in the same context repeatedly, your brain starts building a neural shortcut. That shortcut moves the behavior from the effortful prefrontal cortex to the automatic basal ganglia. This is why the advice, just go to the gym, does not work for most people who try it. There is no context anchor, no specific trigger, no consistent environment wiring the habit into place. But when you say every day at 6:30 after I put on my shoes I walk to the gym, something changes. The shoes become the trigger, 6:30 becomes the time anchor, and the gym becomes the location anchor. After roughly 8 to 12 weeks of consistent context repetition, your brain automates the entire sequence. You stop debating whether to go because the decision has already been made by your environment. This is exactly why disciplined people seem to have unlimited willpower. They are not using willpower at all. They design their contexts so carefully that their brains simply execute without resistance or internal debate. The second mechanism is even more counterintuitive, and it explains why most habit advice fails completely. It is called reward prediction encoding, and it is the reason your brain chooses scrolling over studying. Your brain does not chase pleasure, it chases the prediction of pleasure, and there is a huge difference. Dopamine is not released when you receive a reward. It is released when your brain predicts a reward is coming. When you pick up your phone, your brain already knows exactly what dopamine hit is about to arrive. The prediction is fast, reliable, and guaranteed, so your brain chooses the phone every single time. But when you think about exercising or studying, the reward is distant, uncertain, and unpredictable. Your brain compares the two predictions and selects the one with the faster and more reliable payoff. This is not a character flaw. This is neurochemistry operating exactly as evolution designed it to operate. So how do disciplined people override the system without exhausting themselves fighting against their own biology? They engineer immediate micro rewards into the hard behavior itself, so the prediction equation changes. A small satisfying checkmark after completing a task, a specific playlist only played during deep work sessions, a 2-minute guilt-free break after every focused work block. These are not treats. They are strategic tools. Over time, your brain starts predicting reward from the hard behavior itself, not just from the easy distractions. The neural pathway strengthens, and what once required enormous effort starts feeling almost natural and automatic. The third mechanism is the one that separates people who build habits from people who build identities. It is called identity reinforcement, and it is the most powerful driver of long-term behavioral change. Most people set goals by saying, "I want to run a marathon," or "I want to read more books this year." But disciplined people frame it completely differently. They say, "I am a runner," or "I am a reader." That tiny shift from wanting to being changes everything about how your brain processes the behavior. When an action aligns with your identity, your brain stops treating it as an optional task requiring motivation. Instead, it becomes self-expression, something you do because it is simply who you are as a person. Every time you show up and act consistent with your chosen identity, your brain collects another vote. Each vote is a tiny piece of evidence that says, "Yes, this is the kind of person I actually am." After enough votes, your brain accepts the identity as fact, and the behavior becomes effortless and automatic. You do not need motivation to act like yourself. You just do it because that is who you are. Now here is where everything connects and the full picture becomes incredibly clear and actionable. Context-dependent repetition builds the neural pathway, so the behavior becomes automatic over time. Reward prediction encoding makes your brain want to perform the behavior instead of constantly resisting it. And identity reinforcement makes the behavior feel like self-expression instead of self-punishment or forced effort. When all three mechanisms work together, you get what looks like superhuman discipline from the outside. But from the inside, it feels like nothing. It feels like brushing your teeth, effortless and automatic. If anything in this video has made you pause and rethink how you have been approaching discipline in your life, then this message found you at exactly the right moment. And if you know someone who keeps beating themselves up for not being motivated enough, please share this video with them, because it could genuinely change how they see themselves. If you want more content like this that combines neuroscience with real practical strategies, subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications so you do not miss what is coming next. I would love to hear your story in the comments below. Tell me what clicked for you today, what you are struggling with, and what topic you want me to explore in the next video. This channel grows because of people like you, and I genuinely do not take that for granted. Now let me show you why most people fail even when they understand everything I just explained to you. The biggest mistake is trying to automate too many behaviors at once, because that overwhelms the system completely. Remember, your prefrontal cortex has limited energy, and building a new habit temporarily requires that energy. If you try to wake up early, meditate, exercise, journal, and eat perfectly all starting on the same Monday, you will crash. Your prefrontal cortex burns out by Tuesday, and your brain interprets the failure as proof that you cannot change. But that conclusion is completely wrong. You did not fail because you are incapable. You failed because you overloaded one system. The strategic approach is to automate one single behavior at a time until it requires zero conscious effort. Once that first behavior is running on autopilot, your prefrontal cortex is free to handle the next one. Think of it like installing software on a computer. You do not install 10 programs at once or the system crashes. You install one, let it run smoothly, then move to the next, and over time your operating system becomes incredibly powerful. There is a Japanese concept called Kaizen that captures this principle perfectly in a single word. Kaizen means continuous improvement through small incremental changes rather than dramatic overnight transformations. Japanese manufacturing companies use Kaizen to go from producing low-quality goods to dominating entire global industries. They did not try to fix everything at once. They improved one tiny process every single day without stopping. And over months and years, those tiny improvements compounded into results that seemed impossible from the outside. Your brain works the same way. One small automated behavior leads to another, then another, then another. Within 6 months, your daily life looks completely different, but no single day felt like a dramatic struggle. That is the secret that highly disciplined people understand, and that motivation chasers never figure out. They are not running on willpower. They are running on systems that were built one small piece at a time. So here's what I want you to do starting today, not tomorrow, not next week, right now in this moment. Choose one single behavior that matters to you and attach it to a specific time, location, and preceding action. Add a small immediate reward that your brain can predict, and look forward to every single time you complete it. And tell yourself the identity statement: I am the kind of person who does this, every time you follow through. Do not add a second behavior until the first one feels as automatic as brushing your teeth in the morning. Your brain is not broken. It never was. It was just running on the wrong system this entire time. Stop chasing motivation, because motivation was never the answer, and it never will be the answer. Start building systems, because systems are what separate the people who wish from the people who actually become.